How would you like to travel to the Far East, a land thousands of miles away whose history spans over a millennia? How would you like to climb the Great Wall of China, eat scorpions in the streets of Shanghai, or learn to battle at a Wushu academy? You don't need to use your imaginations because our guest today has done all those things and more on his recent trip to China. He will talk about his trip and what exactly a fried scorpion tastes like. The Humanities Mass Communications Department at Norwalk Community College presents The New Directors, a show that introduces you to television's future writers, directors, and personalities. And now, join our host, Matthew French, to meet the next new director.
Thank you for joining us for today's edition of The New Directors. All the people involved with this program are students in the television production course and are directing, switching, controlling audio, operating cameras, and acting as talent for the first time today. The guests you're about to meet are students who, when not on camera, are behind the scenes working hard to bring this program to you with as few mistakes as possible. Each student will write and direct 3 different productions. This program will give them the chance to talk about themselves, the productions they are planning, and give you the chance to get to know them and watch their progress throughout the semester. Our guest today is an NCC film and TV production course student who recently went on a trip to China with his comparative politics class and is here to tell us a little bit about what that experience was like. We'd like you to meet today's guest, Paulo Araujo. All right, so we understand that you recently went on a trip to China. Can you please tell us some of the places that you visited and how those experiences affected you?
Well, China was an amazing experience. It was the farthest I'd ever been from home, and culturally it was completely out of my comfort zone. And having said that, each new place we visited gave me more perspective into the Chinese culture and made me appreciate the country even more. So I went with my comparative politics class. This was my professor. One of the first places we went to is Shanghai. This is a picture of Shanghai. There was a lot of shopping. These are 2 of my classmates shopping for pants. That's me eating a scorpion in the streets. They just have markets everywhere. It was very crunchy. This was a wedding we saw at a mall. This was sort of like a Madame Tussauds wax museum. And then we went to a Wushu academy where we got to see how they do their Wushu thing. This was really cool to learn because I actually got to get in there with some of them and learn some of the forms and moves that they do. And then, of course, the highlight of the trip was the Great Wall of China. That's me walking down it. Walking up the stairs actually is pretty hard. It's almost at a 90-degree angle. So there's a lot of like old ladies just kind of being helped up. And then this is the group at the Great Wall. And I think next to the Great Wall of China, the second best place we went to was Zibo. It's this small school in the countryside. This was a film crew that followed us during our duration in Zibo. And we got to visit a school. We got to visit a school there, and those were all the kids. We were treated like rock stars almost, because they never see Westerners there, so for them it was really interesting. That's me talking to some of the students, playing basketball, and they were actually pretty good. And then this was us, at the end of our stay, they did a performance for us, like sort of an assembly. We did it for them. And then this was my homestay family, who I was staying with for about 3 days, and that was me saying goodbye. Wow.
Well, that's really fascinating. Can you tell us why you decided to take the TV production course?
Well, I've been watching TVs and movies all my life, and I thought it was about time I get behind the camera and sort of learn the behind-the-scenes aspect of it. I also wanted a better understanding of the ever-changing video camera market. I wanted to learn how to use Avid professionally to edit my own projects, and I just enjoyed the experience enough where I could see this as a potential career opportunity.
Wow. So what are the most useful things that you've learned in this course?
Well, first we learned how to operate video cameras, along with learning basic elements of composition, creating sequences, write storyboards, and scripting. We also learned Avid editing, production editing, which I was very excited about. Electronic video effects were really cool to learn, and we focused on superimposition, keying, and wiping. And we then learned live TV production, including the technical side of it. Overall, we really gained a sense of the importance of the team concept of TV production.
Well, that's really incredible. So can you please tell us about the Fall Foliage Learning Project and the Orange Project and the Orange movie that you created?
Okay, sure. Well, first I'll tell you a little bit about my Fall Foliage project. So for this project, we had to use the guidelines for good composition, simplifying the scene, rule of thirds, lines of grace, emotional lines, and framing techniques. We used camera techniques such as poor man's dissolve, shift focus, continuous zoom-ins and outs. I then edited all these shots together, added titles, and finally music. And then next up was my learning project. And now the purpose of this project was to get just familiar with the camera. We used techniques such as cutting on the action to help the editing process. I also used a shot sheet and basic camera techniques to just familiarize myself with the tool that I'd be using for the rest of the semester. Then we went on to our Orange test film. Now this film was just to get us prepared for our final Orange project that we would be doing in the next few weeks. And it was basically, we just kind of worked off of what we learned from the learning project, just how to get better angles and just continue working on our technique. And then finally was our actual Orange project. Now for this one we had to create a short story and around an orange. The only thing we had to have in the movie was a character had to actually find an orange and then lose an orange. So we got to get creative with the project, which I liked.
All right, so can you tell us about your best project?
Yeah, sure. My best project would probably be my Fall Foliage. The reason being is because I got to spend a really nice Sunday afternoon outside. This was right in the middle of fall, so it was still warm. And just being able to get creative with my surroundings was really nice. And I've never filmed just nature before, so this was kind of a new experience for me. And just editing also I really liked. Just putting shots together, making sure things worked. Like here is a continuous zoom in, so I had to find, from my raw footage, the zoom ins I did and just put them together.
All right, so you mentioned a variety of things that you learned in this course over the semester. So what's the most interesting skill that you've learned and how will you put it to use?
Well, first, I'd love to continue making films, especially now with all the new knowledge I've gathered over the semester. I would like to use my editing skills to edit some travel videos I've taken, such as China. And most of all, I would love the chance to work in post-production editing for broadcast news, film, stories, and music.
Oh, wow. Well, that sounds really fantastic. Today we got to meet someone who shared with us the wonders of the Far East. As a new TV director, he hopes to apply what he has learned at NCC to document other travel and nature experiences. He also plans to use the new knowledge from Television One to edit exciting travel videos in the future. We'd like to thank our guest Paulo for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
We hope you enjoyed meeting with one of television's future directors, and we hope that you continue to join us each week to watch our progress. Thank you and have a good day.
Well,
pretty well, yes.
This has been The New Directors with your host, Matthew French, directed by Stephen Gagliardo. I'm your announcer, Chris Casagran. The New Directors is a Norwalk Community College student production.